Assalamu alaikum. Good evening and welcome to the Today Show. I'm Rizvana, your healthy baker host, here to serve up a show that's as wholesome as my recipes, but with a little bit of extra spice tonight. We've got inspiring stories, big life changes, and something sweet to finish, just the way I like it. First up, we're talking to the amazing Sufia Hussain, CEO and founder of RB+. She's doing incredible work creating spaces where everyone feels valued and included, and I can't wait for you to hear her story. Then we'll be catching up with Ayub Corey, who packed up life here in the UK and moved all the way to Dubai, the sunny climes of Dubai. He's been there for a whole year now and will be sharing what it's really like, plus some tips if you ever thought about making a big move yourself. And finally, my favourite part, we'll be in the kitchen with no other than my mum, who's making something sweet, delicious and totally worth sticking around for. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. So let's get started and welcome our first guest, the wonderful Sufia Hussain. She's the CEO and founder of RB+. Sufia is a passionate leader dedicated to creating diverse and inclusive workplaces. She brings years of experience driving meaningful change through culture and belonging. We're excited to have her here and share her insights with us. Welcome to the show, Sister Sufia. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you. I'm very excited to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. So for those of you who don't know you, Sufia, why don't you tell us a bit about your background and what led you to work in inclusion and belonging?
I will do. So I have been in part of the creative marketing industry for 25 years. That's been my career.
25 years? You
25
don't look old
years,
enough, I might
25
just add
years.
there.
No, I've been there.
Mashallah.
And alhamdulillah, it's been an incredible journey. But I found quite early on that having looked around the room, people like us don't exist. No. So I did what our parents have taught us: put your head down, work hard, and one day they'll notice you. And that's exactly what I did. And alhamdulillah, it paid off. 10 years into my career, there was a void. Despite my accomplishments and having now progressed into a senior leadership position, I was at a director level, I had this void and this unsettling feeling that now I'm looking for something a bit more meaningful and purpose-driven. And that is when I knocked nervously, but with tons of courage, into my CEO's door and asked him, well, actually, I handed in my notice. I handed my resignation with not anything to go to. Wow. But I thought, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And the thing I wanted to do was step into inclusion and belonging. But back then, we didn't necessarily have the language. So I was very much driven up by how is it I can work in a space that amplifies the experience of underrepresented and marginalized communities. I represented many of them, but people around me also who were starting to enter the industry weren't necessarily staying on. So there was a retention challenge that was happening in the organization. And with that mindset, I'd gone to the CEO. I said, I think my time is done. Thank you for an incredible decade in this industry, in this organization. And that is when, and Rizwana, you can't plan these things, and Allah's qadar is incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
He handed my resignation back to me, and he said, describe the role and give me 2 weeks, and I'll see what I can do. And I walked out the room slightly numb, like, oh, my mum is right. Anything is possible when you say inshallah.
Yeah, that's it. Mums are never wrong, are
Mums are never wrong. And so that is what happened. I held tight, went back to my desk, acted like I haven't had this life-changing conversation with my CEO. And within an hour, I had a phone call from the HR director back then. He said, oh, I heard you're moving. I think I might have a role for you. And that's how I stepped in D&I. And often what you'll find, Rizwan, is of people who work in this space, in the D&I, equity, inclusion, and belonging space, it's not like a roadmap to that career. It's very much driven by your own personal set of experiences, lived experiences, what you see professionally and personally in life. And there's certain, unsettling feeling that you have to work with underrepresented groups. And that came together, alhamdulillah, so beautifully, and I stepped into the world of D&I.
So, D&I means different things to different people, like you said, diversity, equity and inclusion. So when I think of that, naturally, I actually think about disabilities,
Sure.
gender, race, that kind of thing. But my first instinct is disability. Now, you focus on religion and belief.
That's right.
So in your workplace of where you spent a decade, did they have, are we talking about multi-faith prayer rooms and facilities, things like that? Did you work in a company where there was diversity in the workplace, i.e. in terms of gender, disability and religion?
Yeah, that's such a great question, because diversity, equity, belonging means different thing to different people, right?
Yes.
So it's really important from an organizational point of view to set the language. What is it you mean? What is diversity in terms of, in your context, right? I've worked in global organizations, I've worked in regional roles. And really my work starts with unpacking what does one mean by diversity. And we as humans are wired to go to the place what is most comfortable to us.
Yes.
So it's interesting, you go to disability, right?
Yeah.
And some of us are driven by the gender discourse, the others. So it's so nuanced and it's reflective of where you're at. And in terms of what I found in my experience is if you don't ask, you don't get.
Absolutely.
Right? And the entry level version of me, like, 25 years ago, code switched to the extent that I was too shy to ask for a prayer room.
Yeah.
So I think most of us are familiar with the emergency exit in our office spaces,
The first
because that
aid room,
becomes our prayer room, right?
Yeah.
You hide in there, you go quickly, especially when it's winter days.
Yeah.
You have to.
Or the showers as well.
Yeah, you have
done
to.
that one.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
How you beat me to that?
Yeah,
I've done
that
changing
one.
rooms quite a bit. I still do it sometimes.
Changing rooms everywhere.
Yeah,
though.
changing rooms everywhere.
Oxford Street,
Yeah,
everywhere in the workplace,
everywhere.
anywhere,
You know which
shopping
ones are
malls.
good, which ones are
Yeah. Yes.
And so the experience is nuanced. It depends. Some organisations are equipped. Often it comes from representation of people like us who have the agency to go up to the organisation, the leaders, the manager, to say, hey, I need a prayer room facility. And it's often met with, it's met with in open arms to say, okay, what is it you need? And actually, I got into this space. I wrote a post on my LinkedIn. This was a couple of years ago. And I didn't have a huge presence, but I wrote a post on LinkedIn because so many people used to reach out to me, off the record chat, Sufia, how is it we create a prayer room facility in our organisation? I thought, to me, it's quite simple and straightforward, but actually, it's not a given that it is the same for the other person. So I wrote a post very explicitly saying what it is we need in our prayer room facilities. That became viral, and I got more approaches based on that one post that I did.
So is this what inspired you to focus on religion?
What inspired me, yes, it's a
inclusion?
combination of experiences.
Yeah.
It's a combination of having conversations with people. It's
Experience of just being fed up of not having a space?
yeah, and also what you can achieve when that space is created,
Yeah.
right? So it's a combination of things, right? I can't say to you it was exactly one moment, but I think when I stepped into D&I quickly noticed a gap that leaders and organizations, people who make people strategies and plans all about enhancing the employee journey, who are committed to the purpose about uplifting feelings of belonging and psychological safety. But when it came to religion and belief, there was a bit of a silence. There's a culture where you think this might be too risky, it might be too difficult, it might be too big of a challenge for us to take on as an organization.
Do you really? Why is it too big a challenge? You just need a tiny little room, don't you?
Yeah,
generally.
but it's broader than that, right, Rosanna? So it's right from incorporating holidays that mark religious festivals that have deep meaning to obviously Muslims, but all people of all faiths and religious beliefs, right? It's about recognizing that we need accommodations to be made aside of the prayer room. Yeah. So when we're fasting in Ramadan, for instance, you know what it's like.
Yeah, flexi
you
working
want the
hours.
adjustments. You still you feel fatigue slightly. Later on in the day, you might not always want to, if you're on virtual calls, put the camera on, or you might even not fancy that commute in the office. But it's not that organisations are not doing the work. It's that it's often there's a fear that if by us as employees, to some extent, it's by us also as leaders to not know what the right thing to do is. So there's a communication gap.
Okay.
And the work that I'm very much invested in and doing in RB Plus is all about how is it we have those conversations in a safe environment, not led by fear, but in a true sense of how do we enhance feelings of inclusion and belonging in the organisation.
So do you think the fear is what drives organisations up to this point to leave out religion and belief in
I mean, it's quite
their
complex,
companies?
right? But I think to a certain extent,
I mean, how many
that
Muslims
is-
are in the country? You know, I should probably know this stat, so apologies,
There
everybody.
are about 5 million,
Right.
I think, Muslims.
5 million.
But I think in the age of 5 to 15-year-old
Yeah.
group, we
Yeah.
are increasingly in high, we're 10% of the population. So, and our cities and our major cities are all getting increasingly multicultural and multi-faith. So there is an increase, and in organisations to stay relevant, to have the competitive advantage, to drive that commercial objective that all organisations have, which is to grow, attract good talent, grow your client base. This work is important and it's needed, and it's wider than just the Muslim cause, right? Obviously, I represent Islam, but this is for all people of all faiths and all religions.
Yeah.
And a major study done in 2023 actually found that almost half of the respondents, the people, didn't feel safe or comfortable sharing their religious celebration with the organisation.
Yes.
Another study done by MIFA, Media for All, found, and this was last year, found that Muslim and Sikh women continue to feel excluded from the workplaces. Now, I'm not talking 1980s, I'm talking right here, right now. So there's a lot of work to be done. And unless we don't lean into the discomfort of some of these conversations, we're not going to make meaningful change that is longer lasting. And that is both behavioural and systemic. So it's showing up in the day-to-day behaviours, in our leaders, in our managers, in the teams around us, but also it's reflected in the policies that the organisation's making, the adjustments that are being influenced. So it's not just for one person to make the change, because sometimes we get lucky. I've got really lucky with having incredible managers who have made those adjustments, who I haven't had to code switch or explain why I'm asking for that 2 days off Eid, but actually only need 1 day, and I might turn up to that meeting, I might not.
Well,
right?
the moon wars start,
yeah,
don't
the moon
they?
wars, and that's, you need a different show for that, I'm sure. So we've all been in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced it as well. And you mentioned about a Sikh woman. In a different lifetime, I used to have a city career, and I wouldn't have accepted the job had they not provided a space for me to pray. Like I was just not interested in it. But my manager at the time said to me, "Oh, Raz, can't you just pray outside?" So yeah, in summer, okay, but no, it's just not good enough. So I did request a space to pray, and which they did give that to me. The holidays and stuff, no, they did not understand. But I'm very openly Muslim and happy to talk about religion. And it was nice because actually male Christians used to come to me and say, we go to church near here, but we don't feel comfortable to talk about it in the workplace. So I think it happens. And this is the thing, unless you talk about these things, you just don't know, do you?
Absolutely, and it's religion, the drop curb effect, isn't it? Exactly.
Religion,
to your point.
politics.
You drop the curb, and you do it with the view that you're going to enhance, the disability wheelchair users' experience. But actually, so many wider population benefits, right from mothers with pushchairs to someone carrying a heavy bag who rather not take that step. And so it kind of uplifts other groups as well, Rizwana. So I think that's a really good and interesting point. And the work that I am focusing on is to collectively raise the bar a bit and talk about faith inclusion with information to hand, but with, disrupting those ingrained behaviours and norms that organisations for a long time have carried. And now they want representation, and I'm happy to enter these workplaces, but how is it we shift the dial a bit and really, enhance people's experience?
I love that, collectively uplifting. That is kind of a positive impact, or how we embrace inclusion in the workplace. To you then, what does actually true inclusion look like in the workplace beyond just simple tolerance of, okay, yeah, she needs to pray 5 times a day or 3 times a day or whatever, prayer space? what, I mean, you mentioned about holidays for Eid, where it's one day, moon walls aside, but what else, what for you would you like to see in the next, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 10 years? What does true inclusion look like to you?
No, great question. Thanks for asking. And it's, I mean, I can talk about this for hours.
I can tell.
I can really go really deep. But for the sake of this this conversation, inclusion is all about feeling you're being seen.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Feeling
People looking at you and what you say matters. You matter. They're hearing you. Your decision making abilities are not taken away from you. You're given that, you know, opportunity to contribute in a way that is meaningful, that's impact driven, and you feel like you truly belong. There's no part of you you're going to have to hide, right? And that's psychological safety.
Yes.
And when you feel that safety, and we all have our safe people in our life, and we all unfortunately Allah tests us with slight challenging people in life. And you know how you feel, the energy shifts, right?
Yeah.
You're not fully yourself. You put your guard up, you've got your arm up, and there's a part of you you're hiding.
Yeah.
But you don't get to your best work in that. And what I'm focusing on, RB Plus, is how do we unleash everyone's creative power? By really going deep and saying, you matter.
Absolutely.
Your headscarf, no headscarf is irrelevant. We see you because of who you are, with your uniqueness.
I love that. I mean, what a positive impact, what a strong statement. Is to be seen, is to be heard, is essentially to live authentically.
100%.
Whether you're in the workplace or not.
100%.
Sufia, thank you so much.
You.
I'm so sorry I have to end it there. I could speak to you all day about this because I'm very passionate about this as well.
I can tell.
But please, you're not going anywhere yet because you have to try my mum's
I am not going
sweet
anywhere,
treat.
I know that.
So please do stick around. Right, guys, what an amazing young woman. 25 years of experience. She does not look old enough, I'm sure you agree. But as I said, we've got some more treats for you, so don't go anywhere. See you in a couple of minutes. Assalamu alaikum.